And here we go, starting a new session in Albany. And hi, I'm David Smith with Meet the Leaders. We are pleased to have Assemblyman David Buchwald of the 93rd District. And he is joining us in advance of the excitement that is to come with months and months and months of lots of heavy lifting.
Well,
good to have you here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for having me here, David. And that's a job people send us to do so that we come to Albany on their behalf, and they don't have to. They can reach us in our district offices and let us know what's on their minds back home. But we make the trips up here because there's important work to get done.
Well, things have altered significantly this year with a firm grip by the Democrats on both the House and the Senate, as well as the big chair up there. Is that going to make any big difference, do you think, to what goes on?
I think right off the bat, it will both mean policy changes, but also a change of approach. I had 9 pieces of legislation last year that passed the Assembly either unanimously or one of them with 1 no vote. So bipartisan bills, common sense ways to improve government, and none of those bills saw the light of day in the state Senate. And it showed that what was happening last year was not just an ideological difference, it was also just, frankly, having a state Senate that wasn't functioning, getting the work done that New Yorkers needed. And as proud as I'll be to have the Senate now working with the Assembly to pass some of our long-term priorities off the bat, election reforms, women's reproductive rights, environmental improvements, things like that, to also be getting done those small improvements in state government that really make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, people look at large pictures, but as often as not, it's the people who are affected by the little things that they have or don't have.
Over the course of a 2-year session, over 10,000 bills typically are introduced. Many of those bills are bills that affect an individual community, individual person or family, but those really make a difference in the responsiveness of state government to giving people the tools they need in order to improve their own lives.
Now, what are you starting off with as a priority, a major priority for you?
Probably the biggest single priority I have, in addition to just trying to make sure government is working and that we keep taxes under control, is also something that I've been battling for a few years, but I think the need is coming for all the more. It's a bill to instruct the State Department of Taxation and Finance to release the tax returns of statewide elected officials, including the President of the United States. It's something that I feel most of our statewide elected officials are very transparent on. Our governor, our U.S. senators, our state comptroller make their tax returns available to the public and or the press. But obviously our president doesn't, and he's a New York State resident, and we should make sure that New York State
You can force that issue?
I believe we can. This is a bill that was originally developed with consultation with expert tax attorneys, tax professors. I used to be a tax attorney myself, and I very much believe that's one of the things that we should be tackling. Maybe not the first week or month we're in session, but certainly before the end of the session.
I know you're also an environmentalist, very concerned about what's going on not only in your area, but it's affected by everything around you.
Yes.
What sort of changes do you want to see in environmental regulations?
Well, I think we're going to see a large number of them, both advancing things that affect regions of New York State that are very important, but also addressing things that are of worldwide significance. I think the Climate Change Protection Act is something that we are going to focus on how to make sure that New York State is doing its part to address the long-term environmental sustainability of our state and the region. And I think New York State really should be a leader on that and many other issues. We used to be known for passing legislation in New York that would then move its way across the entire country. Things like child labor laws started here in New York, and then we demonstrated that it would work, and then we'd truly be the Empire State in terms of setting the lead for the country. We got away from that for a while. And over the last few years, we've started to do that, but really now we have the opportunity to do that all the more.
In this electronic age, a lot of people feel that the day of the library in towns, cities, and so forth is behind us, but you don't feel that's so?
Well, most people who feel that way haven't been in a library themselves recently, because if they go to a library, as I often do around my district, and we have some of the best libraries in New York State in my district in Westchester County, they will see that libraries are vibrant places. It's people not just taking out books and DVDs and audio books and so forth, but also learning new skills, finding job opportunities, learning a new language. And libraries now really are community centers. When I was on the city council in White Plains, we increased library hours in the middle of the Great Recession because library usage was so far up. And I think that's one of the best things that I did as a common council member, was push for that initiative. And I really feel that our investments in libraries have all the more need in the modern information age.
That's very exciting. It's nice to hear, and nice to obviously witness for those folks in your district, and hopefully that'll extend itself around the rest of the state.
I hope so too.
93rd District is what he represents. David Buchwald is our guest on this edition of Meet the Leaders. Want to wish you all the best going forth.
Thanks,
this is
David.
the 4th term that he's rolling into, so a man of some experience here.
New year, but the sky's the limit.
I like the way he says that. Sky's the limit. There you go. That's the way we're starting it off here at Albany and the new session here from Meet the Leaders. I'm David Smith.